Good morning, everybody. This is reading for years 3 and 4, and this is week 10. Our unit focus, we will be reading a short story called The Dump, and this is by Pi Corbett. He wrote the story during lockdown. One of the things he noticed is that wildlife has been making a return. The air is purer, animal life has been less disturbed. Gardens, parks, and the countryside are flourishing. He imagined a dumping ground piled with people's rubbish and wondered what would happen in lockdown. Would nature begin to claim its territory? Today's lesson, we will be looking at synonyms. We will also have a vipers activity at the end of the lesson. Let's look at the learning objective for today. I can check that the text makes sense to me and your success criteria. I can check that the text makes sense to me. I can also discuss my understanding of the text. I can even explain my understanding of the text. We will look at some of the vocabulary that we will find in the text that we read today. Cul-de-sac, what does this mean? A cul-de-sac is a street or passage closed at one end. And your sentence example, the old lady lived in a house on a cul-de-sac. Our next word, fly tipping, what does this mean? So fly tipping is the deliberate dumping of rubbish in an illegal place. Here's our sentence example. The farmer was very disappointed that someone had used his field for fly tipping. Leotards, what does that mean? It's a tight piece of clothing that covers the body but not the legs, usually worn by dancers. And a sentence example. The dance instructor wore a bright red leotard. If there are any other words that you are unsure of, then use the dictionary to look them up. The Dump by Pi Corbett. We found it at the end of the cul-de-sac, where the path led between two houses into a wooded bit beyond. Someone had chucked an old mattress out. The next thing we knew, it had become the local dumping ground. I could see it from my bedroom window. Our house backed onto the wood. Mum called it fly tipping and said it was because all the council tips were closed. They're not open the recycling centres until lockdown has ended, she said. I wasn't allowed to the dump. Mum warned me a number of times. I could take my exercise in the back garden, but couldn't go out of the gate behind Dad's shed. There wasn't much to do in the garden. It wasn't a garden really, because it was mostly paving stones and a barbecue that Dad had built out of old bricks and half a metal drum. Then there was his shed. You couldn't swing anything in the garden. It was tiny. Then I drove Mum mad by kicking my football against the kitchen wall 136 times. I was on the 137th when she exploded out of the back door and shouted at me to stop it or else. But I'm exercising, I said. It's right for her and Jasmine. They watch Joe Wicks and puff and pant in their leotards. You're not catching me doing that. Okay, we will finish the rest of the story tomorrow. But for now, we are ready for learning activity 1. And our focus today will be on synonyms. Can you remember what they are? That's right. Synonyms are a word or phrase that has the same or nearly the same meaning as another word or phrase. And I'm going to give you some examples. So hungry, you could use these following words: empty, ravenous, or starved. And they have the same or similar meaning to hungry. Injured, you could use damaged, wounded, harmed, and they have the same or nearly the same meaning as injured. Intelligent, you could use brilliant, clever, or smart. And once again, these have the same or nearly the same meaning as intelligent. Let's look at some of the words the author has used. Can you think of any synonyms for the following words? It's now your turn. So beyond, exploded, puff, and warned. And then I would like you to write a sentence using the chosen synonym for each word. You are now ready to complete your worksheet. Okay, we're now ready to start your Vipers learning activity. And V for vocabulary. What does recycling mean? I for infirm. Why do you think the main character is not allowed to go to the dump? P for predict. Do you think the main character is a girl or a boy? And do you have any evidence for suggesting this? E, explain. Can you explain? You couldn't swing anything in the garden. R, retrieve. Who is angry and why? S for summary. Summarise the story so far in no more than 20 words. Today's plenary. Can you draw a picture of Dad's garden? It has been described to you, so you should have a picture of this in your head. Can you draw this picture?